3 days ago, Ilara Voss lost everything. Lucan Dorn, the man who had courted her for 3 years and promised to make her his mate, chose her elder sister instead. Before the entire Shadowmere pack, Maris accepted the mating mark meant for Ilara and smiled as though her sister's heartbreak were a victory. Humiliated by the man she trusted and betrayed by her own blood, Ilara fled into the forest. She ran until branches tore her dress, until her lungs burned, and until her legs could carry her no farther. Behind a freezing waterfall, she found a hidden cave where no one would search for an unwanted Omega. There, surrounded by darkness and ice, Ilara stopped fighting to survive. Hours pass, perhaps days. Ilara loses track of time beneath the endless roar of water and the cold seeping into her bones. Her wolf has gone silent, retreating so deeply that Ilara can barely feel her anymore. Perhaps that is a mercy. Perhaps it is better not to feel anything at all. Hunger comes first, a gnawing emptiness that twists her stomach into knots. Then thirst, sharp and desperate despite the water rushing past her hiding place. She is too weak to move and too broken to care. Let the cold take me, she thinks. Let the water wash away whatever is left. But the world has other plans. She senses him before she hears him. A presence so vast and overwhelming that her dormant wolf suddenly surges awake, pressing low inside her in instinctive submission. Power radiates through the stone, through the water, through the very air she breathes. Ancient power, absolute power, the waterfall parts. Not naturally, not slowly. The entire cascade tears open with sudden violence, as though the water itself has been commanded to step aside. Moonlight floods the cave. Ilara throws an arm over her eyes against the blinding silver brightness. A figure stands at the entrance, tall, broad, and utterly still, in a way that speaks of complete control. "I thought I scented something," he says. His voice rolls through the cave like distant thunder. Something rare, something hidden beneath grief and cold. Ilara scrambles backward until her shoulders strike solid rock. There is nowhere to go. She is trapped with a stranger whose presence makes every instinct demand that she bare her throat and beg for mercy. "Please, swoon," she whispers. "I am no one. I have nothing. Just let me die." He steps forward. "Is that truly what you want, little wolf? To end your story in a cold cave, alone and forgotten?" The question strikes something raw inside her. Fresh tears burn her eyes. "My story ended 3 days ago," she says bitterly. "The man who promised to mate with me chose my sister instead." Something shifts in his expression. Interest replaces cold assessment. "He betrayed you. He was never truly mine," Ilara says. "I was only convenient until someone better came along." The stranger moves closer, and moonlight finally catches his face. Ilara's breath stops. Sharp cheekbones rise beneath skin the color of burnished bronze. Dark stubble shadows a jaw that looks carved from stone. Midnight black hair falls across a forehead marked by faded scars. His eyes are the deep amber of autumn leaves burning with inner fire. She knows that face. Everyone in the north knows that face. "You are..." Her voice fails. "Cassian Valorn," he says. "Alpha King of the Northern Dominion, the conqueror who ended the civil wars between the northern clans. the wolf whose name mothers whisper to frighten disobedient pups, the ruler feared by warlords and courtiers alike, standing in a cave behind a waterfall, looking at a broken Omega as though she matters. "Why are you here?" Alara asks. "Why did you stop?" Cassian studies her. His amber gaze traces the hollows beneath her eyes, the bruises on her arms, and the violent trembling she can no longer control. "I was hunting," he says at last. "My scouts found traces of silver corruption near this valley. I followed them here." He glances toward the cave floor. Only then does Alara notice tiny white flowers growing between the wet stones around her bare feet, their petals shining faintly beneath the moonlight. "Snow lilies. They should not bloom in winter. There is nothing rare here," she whispers. "Only me." The corner of his mouth moves, not quite forming a smile. Precisely. One moment he stands at the cave entrance. The next he is crouching before her, close enough that she can feel heat radiating from his body. His hands, when he reaches for her, are unexpectedly gentle. "Can you stand?" She shakes her head. "I have not eaten in days. I cannot feel my legs." Without hesitation, Cassian slides one arm beneath her knees and the other behind her back. He lifts her as though she weighs nothing. Her head falls against his chest, beneath black leather and heavy cloth. His heartbeat is steady and strong. "What are you doing?" she manages. "Taking you away from this place." "But why? I am nothing. I am no one." "You are freezing to death," he says, cutting her off. "We can discuss your mistaken opinion of your worth when you are no longer actively dying." He carries her through the parted waterfall into a night illuminated by a painfully bright full moon. A dozen warriors wait beside the pool in black leather armor. Their expressions remain carefully blank as their king emerges carrying a half-drowned Omega. "My lord," says a battle-scarred man with a leather patch covering one eye. "The hunting party is ready to—" He stops. His remaining eye moves from Cassian to Alara and back again. "Change of plans, Commander Corvin," Cassian says. "We ride for Thornhaven." Cassian mounts a massive black stallion without releasing her, settling Alara securely across his lap. His cloak closes around them both, engulfing her in warmth and the scent of pine, wood smoke, and something darker, something wild. "Sleep, little wolf," he murmurs. "I do not understand." Exhaustion drags at her. "Why are you helping me?" His amber eyes meet hers. For one heartbeat, she sees pain there. Recognition, the echo of an old wound. "Because someone should have helped me once," he says quietly, "and no one did." The words settle into her chest. Before she can answer, the warmth of his body and the rhythm of the horse pull her into darkness. Alara wakes to pain, not the sharp pain of a fresh injury, but the deep ache of a body pushed beyond its limits. Every muscle protests as she shifts upon unfamiliar softness. A bed, an actual bed, covered in clean sheets that smell faintly of lavender. For one blissful moment, she remembers nothing. Then memory crashes back. Lucan's dismissive eyes, Maris's triumphant smile, and amber eyes burning in the darkness behind a waterfall. The Alpha King. The door opens and Alara scrambles backward. The woman who enters is tall and angular, with steel-gray hair pulled into a severe knot. She carries a tray of food but no visible weapon. "Good, you are awake," She places the tray on a table beside the bed. I am Vela Arden, head of the royal household. You have been asleep for 2 days. The king ordered us to let you wake naturally. Where am I? Thornhaven, the Alpha King's fortress. Vela's gray eyes examine her with clinical precision. You were severely dehydrated and malnourished. The king wishes to see you this evening. Ice moves through Alara's veins. And if I refuse? One of Vela's eyebrows rises. Very few people refuse Cassian Vaylorn. Between us, however, he is not what the stories claim. Harsh, certainly. Dangerous, without question. But never cruel without cause. After Vela leaves, Alara falls upon the meal like a starving animal. Sharp cheese, warm bread, tender meat, and sweetened tea disappear faster than dignity allows. When the tray is empty, she feels almost dizzy. The bathing chamber is equally overwhelming. A copper tub waits, filled with steaming water, while clean clothes have been placed neatly beside it. As she sinks into the warmth, Alara allows herself to cry. She grieves the future she lost. She grieves the woman she had been before Lucan's betrayal. She grieves the part of herself that still wishes Maris had loved her enough not to take everything she wanted. Beneath the grief, a tiny spark of hope begins to glow. Alara crushes it. Hope is what brought her to the cave. Thornhaven is nothing like the fortress of nightmares Alara imagined. Instead of dungeons and screaming prisoners, she finds corridors filled with purposeful activity. Servants move quickly, but their expressions are focused rather than terrified. Warriors greet one another without flinching. Sunlight reaches the inner halls through narrow windows. Carved into the mountain itself, a young female warrior named Bryn Kestrel escorts Alara toward the king's study. Bryn has close-cropped auburn hair, a scar crossing one eyebrow, and the easy balance of someone who is never truly unarmed. First time in Thornhaven? Bryn asks. First time anywhere, Alara admits. They climb a spiral staircase and stop before massive doors guarded by 2 broad-shouldered wolves in human form. The Omega is here to see the king, Bryn announces. One guard, a mountain of a man with tribal tattoos climbing his neck, looks Alara over with open disdain. This is what he dragged back from the hunt? He should have left her for the crows. Careful, Drask. A cold voice cuts through the hall. You are speaking about my guest, not a prisoner. The doors open. Cassian stands just inside. He looks different in daylight, less like a myth and more like a man, though no less dangerous. He wears simple black clothing, yet power radiates from him like heat from a forge. Leave us. The guards obey at once. Bryn closes the doors behind her. Cassian studies Alara for a moment. You look better. Thank you for your hospitality, my lord. Cassian. She blinks. I beg your pardon? My name. In private, I prefer it to the title. He leads her into a study that feels far more lived in than the rest of the fortress. Maps cover one wall. A heavy desk is buried beneath reports, letters, and scrolls. The fire burns in a hearth large enough to roast a boar, casting warm light across worn leather chairs and shelves of ancient books. You have questions, Cassian says, sitting beside the fire. He gestures toward the chair opposite him. Ask them. Alara perches on its edge, hands tightly clasped in her lap. Why did you save me? I told you. Someone should have saved me once. That is not an answer. A hint of surprise crosses his face. You are the Alpha King, she continues. You can command armies. You can summon wealth, healers, and nobles. Why waste your time on a broken Omega hiding in a cave? Silence stretches between them. When Cassian finally speaks, his voice is rough. You know my reputation. The monster who ended the Northern Civil Wars. The wolf who killed his own father and took the throne. Alara says nothing. What you do not know is why. He looks into the fire. My father believed Omegas existed to serve of us breed and be discarded. My mother was one of them. She died giving birth to me, and he never allowed me to forget that her supposed weakness had cost him. His amber eyes lift to hers. I was raised to despise the blood that created me. Every day was a test. Every failure became an excuse for punishment. By the time I took the throne, I had learned to be cold, ruthless, and strong. Then why are you different? Because I found you behind that waterfall, half dead and convinced you deserved to die. His voice lowers. And I saw myself 20 years ago, hiding in another cave and praying for death because my father had convinced me I was worthless. The confession hangs between them. Alara's voice is barely audible. What do you want from me? I want you to survive. I want you to discover who you are without Lucan, Maris, or anyone else deciding your worth. He leans forward. And when you are strong enough, I want you to help me change things. What things? The way Omegas are treated. The belief that cruelty is the same as strength. Alara glances toward the maps. If you are king, why not simply order it? Cassian's expression hardens. I rule the Northern Dominion, but the 5 border pacts remain sovereign under old treaties. Even inside the Dominion, many warlords, counselors, and commanders still follow my father's laws. I could impose reform by force, but doing so too quickly would start another civil war. Thousands would die, and the Omegas I meant to protect would suffer first. So you do nothing? I change what I can without setting the North on fire. His gaze sharpens, but perhaps I have hidden behind patience for too long. A knock breaks the moment. Enter. The man who steps into the study is striking in a cold, elegant way. Silver blonde hair frames a face of severe beauty. His eyes are the pale blue of frozen lakes. So this is the young woman you found, he says smoothly. You have caused considerable curiosity, nephew. Alara, this is Lord Severin Vaylorn, my father's brother. Severin bows with perfect courtesy. Lady Alara. I am no lady. Everyone beneath this roof is whatever the king declares them to be. His gaze passes over her bruises and borrowed clothes. Though some declarations are more surprising than others. Why are you here, uncle? Cassian asks. To report that the Eastern Patrol found another corrupted animal near the border. I thought you would want to know. Severin turns toward the door, then pauses. Your father would not have approved of sentiment interfering with duty. My father is dead. Yes. Severin's smile remains gentle. We should all remember why. After he leaves, the room seems colder. He saved my life when I was a boy, Cassian says. He also believes my father's methods made the Dominion strong. Do you trust him? Cassian is silent for too long. I trust that he will always act according to his beliefs. That is not the same thing. No, Cassian says, it is not. Stay away from him whenever possible. 3 weeks pass. Alara is given no official role, which means everyone in Thornhaven invents one for her. Some servants treat her with cautious kindness. Others watch her as though she is a stray animal that might bite. Warriors who learn she sleeps in the royal wing assume she is Cassian's charity or something worse. She works where she can, mending clothes and helping in the kitchens. More importantly, she watches. Thornhaven operates according to the old hierarchy. Cassian sits at the top. Beneath him stand the War Council, senior commanders, betas, guards, servants, and finally the Omegas seen when needed and ignored at all other times. Alara counts 7 Omegas inside the fortress. They walk with lowered eyes and rounded shoulders, speaking only when spoken to. She tries to approach one of them, a young woman named Petra Wynn, whose forearms bear old burn scars. Petra flinches away. Do not. I only wanted to speak with you. They will think we are plotting. Who will? Everyone. Petra's haunted gaze flicks toward the corridor. It is safer if we do not associate. I want to help. I know what you want. Petra's voice softens. We all wanted it once. Hope, connection, the belief that someone might see us as people. She shakes her head. This place burns those things out of you. The encounter gnaws at Alara for days. Cassian wants her to help him change the world. She begins to wonder whether he understands how deeply the old cruelty has rooted itself inside his own home. Then comes the night that changes everything. Alara is returning from the kitchens when she hears a high, thin sound that barely qualifies as a scream. It comes from the training yard. A boy no older than 14 lies crumpled on the packed earth. His name is Finn Calder, a first-year initiate Alara has seen carrying practice shields for older trainees. His arm bends in a direction no arm should bend, white bone visible through torn flesh. Lord Severin stands above him. His expression is calm. Again, Severin commands. Finn whimpers and tries to drag himself away. Severin places a boot between the boy's shoulders. Did I give you permission to move? Alara does not think. She acts. Stop. Severin turns slowly. What did you say? I said stop. Her voice trembles, but she forces herself into the yard and kneels beside Finn. He has a compound fracture. He may be bleeding internally. Whatever lesson you wanted to teach is over. Severin's voice becomes dangerously soft. You interrupt my training to coddle a failed initiate? I am trying to help an injured child. He is a soldier. He is 14. Alara looks up. Is compassion forbidden in your training yard? Severin steps toward her. Alara braces for the blow. It never comes. A word, uncle. Cassian's voice cuts through the night like a blade. Alara did not hear him approach. One moment the entrance stands empty. The next, the Alpha King is there, his amber eyes burning. Severin smiles. Come to defend your newest cause? I came to ask why you are conducting advanced combat drills on initiates who have not completed their first year. The injury was the lesson. Pain teaches faster than speeches. This is how my father trained me, Cassian says. It is not how you will train children under my command. Careful, nephew. The border packs already call you soft. One sign of weakness and everything you built could collapse. Take Finn to the healers, Cassian orders the nearest guards. And from this night onward, all training schedules will be approved by Commander Corvin. Severin inclines his head. As you command, my king. He passes Alara closely enough for only her to hear him. Protection is temporary, little Omega. Then he is gone. Cassian turns on her. That was incredibly foolish. I know, he could have killed you. I know that too. Then why? Anger wars with something that looks almost like admiration in his eyes. Why risk your life for a boy you have never met? Alara remembers the cave behind the waterfall. She remembers waiting for death because no one had ever taught her she deserved rescue. Because someone should have stood up for me once, she says, and no one did. The words settle between them like stones dropped into still water. Cassian's expression hardens, softens, then hardens again. You are going to get yourself killed. Probably. His mouth twitches despite himself. Come with me. There is something you need to see. He leads her down a staircase spiraling deep into the mountain. The air grows warmer as they descend, carrying the scent of herbs, clean linen, and sharp medicinal compounds. They enter a cavern large enough to contain a village hall. Rows of beds line the walls. Dozens are occupied by wolves in various states of injury. Some are missing limbs. Others bear burns, poisoned wounds, or scars that should have killed them. Healers in gray robes move quietly between the beds, their hands glowing with soft golden light. What is this place? Alara whispers. My secret, Cassian says. The pride in his voice is unmistakable. The official infirmary treats minor wounds. Warriors are still expected to ignore anything more serious. This sanctuary is where the truly broken are brought to heal without judgment. Who knows? The healers, Commander Corvin, Vela. Now you. And Severin, I have never told him. Alara slowly takes in the number of lives being saved beneath the mountain. Why show me? Because of what you did tonight. You refused to let a child suffer simply because a powerful man called pain a lesson. Cassian's voice grows rough. This is the world I have been trying to build. A world where protecting the vulnerable is not considered weakness, and healing is valued as highly as victory. He looks across the hidden sanctuary. I built it in darkness because I believed secrecy was the only way to keep it alive. But perhaps change cannot remain hidden forever. Alara's heart pounds. What are you asking me? Cassian faces her fully. In his amber eyes, she sees something she never expected to find in the feared Alpha King. Hope. I am asking you to help me. Not as a servant, as an ally, someone who believes what I believe and is brave enough to fight for it. Before Alara can answer, a healer hurries toward them. My king, the Eastern Patrol has been ambushed. 12 wounded, 3 critical. Commander Corvin is dying. Cassian changes instantly. Warmth disappears beneath command. Take me to him. As Alara follows, she catches a flicker of movement between 2 stone columns. When she turns, no one is there. The sanctuary pulses with frantic energy. Healers move between the wounded, while Cassian strides toward the far end of the cavern. How many attackers? He demands. We do not know, answers Malin Gray, the sanctuary's chief healer. They wore no colors and left no bodies behind. Commander Corvin took a blade meant for one of the scouts. They reach a bed surrounded by blood-soaked cloth and abandoned bowls of medicine. Corvin looks nothing like the scarred warrior who waited beside the waterfall. His skin has turned gray. Black veins spread across his chest from a wound in his shoulder. Every breath rattles inside him. Cassian's jaw tightens. Silver-laced venom. We tried golden healing, blood replacement, and every antidote in the archive, Malin says. The poison consumes the magic before it can work. Alara moves closer without deciding to. Something inside the wound calls to her, not a voice, a wrongness. The corruption writhes beneath Corvin's skin, like a living thing feeding upon his strength. "May I touch him?" she asks. Malin stares at her. "You are not a healer." "No," Alara says, "but I can feel it." Cassian studies her face. Corvin is his oldest commander and most trusted friend. Allowing Alara near him requires a kind of trust neither of them has named. "Please," she whispers, "I think I can help." Cassian steps aside. Alara kneels and places both hands over Corvin's chest. The moment her skin touches his, pain tears through her shoulder. She gasps. The corruption does not merely reveal itself. It reaches for her, forcing images into her mind: black metal, an altar stained by old blood, and pale eyes watching through fire. Her wolf recoils. Alara closes her eyes. "Help me," she pleads silently. "Help me save him." A faint silver glow appears beneath her palms. It is nothing like the warm gold used by the trained healers. This light is cool and pale, pulsing in time with Corvin's failing heart. Alara follows the corruption through his veins. She burns it away strand by strand, drawing its poison into herself before forcing it into the silver light. The darkness fights back. Agony moves up her arms. For one terrifying moment, black veins appear beneath her own skin. Hungry magic reaches for her heart. No, the refusal comes from somewhere deeper than thought. Silver light flares across the bed. The corruption recoils. Alara pursues it through Corvin's blood, bones, and lungs, until nothing remains except a small knot of darkness around the original wound. She crushes it. When Alara opens her eyes, she is trembling so violently that Cassian catches her shoulder. The black veins have vanished from Corvin's chest. His breathing steadies. Color begins to return to his face. A line of darkness remains beneath the skin of Alara's wrist. Malin sees it. "You absorbed part of the poison. It is fading," Alara says, though she is not certain. "That should be impossible." Corvin's eye opens. For a moment, he stares at the cavern ceiling. Then he turns toward Alara. "You," he rasps, "the girl from the waterfall. You remember me? I felt you inside the darkness, fighting for me." His gaze shifts to Cassian. "My king, this one is rare." Cassian's hand remains on Alara's shoulder, warm and steady. "I know," he says quietly. "I suspected it from the moment I saw winter flowers growing around her." Alara tries to stand. The cavern tilts. Cassian catches her before she falls. Malin grips Alara's wrist and examines the fading black line. "Whatever gift you possess has a price. You did not simply remove his suffering. You carried part of it through yourself." Alara looks at Corvin's living face. Then it was worth paying. Cassian says nothing, but fear darkens his eyes. Word spreads through Thornhaven despite every attempt to contain it. The rejected Omega, pulled from a waterfall, has purified a poison that the king's finest healers could not touch. Warriors who once dismissed Elara now watch her with cautious respect. Servants whisper when she passes. The Omegas look at her differently, not with trust yet, but with the dangerous beginnings of hope. Moon-touched, Vela tells her one evening. Elara sits beside the fire in her chamber, a blanket around her shoulders. 3 days have passed since Corvin's healing, yet weakness still weighs upon her limbs. What does that mean? In the oldest stories, the moon-touched were wolves chosen by the moon goddess to recognize and purify corruption. They could cleanse poisoned blood, cursed magic, even wounds of the spirit. Stories are not proof. No, Vela agrees, but winter lilies bloomed around you, and silver light answered your hands. Cassian summons Elara to his study that night. Ancient books lie open across his desk. Several bear illustrations of women surrounded by silver fire. What you did has not been reliably recorded in more than 2 centuries, he says. The moon-touched did not heal without cost. They absorbed pain and corruption before purifying it. If they took in more than they could cleanse, the darkness remained. Elara looks at her wrist. The black line is gone, but she remembers its cold hunger. So I could become corrupted. If you use the gift carelessly, yes, then teach me not to. I will find every text and every healer who may help. Cassian comes around the desk, but understand this, Elara. Your gift did not create your worth. Lucan was a fool before silver light ever touched your hands. Maris was blind before the lilies bloomed. Elara lowers her gaze. There will be a gathering here in 6 weeks, Cassian continues. Representatives of Silverpine, Thornwood, Mist Hollow, Iron Ridge, and Shadowmere will discuss the attacks along our borders. Someone is testing corrupted weapons and trying to turn the packs against one another. You want the 5 packs to form an alliance. I do, and you want me there, at my side. As what? The question lingers. Before Cassian can answer, the study doors open. Lord Severin enters without waiting to be invited. How intimate, he says lightly, the Alpha King alone with his newest advisor. Elara saved Commander Corvin, Cassian says. She has earned the right to speak in this room. Rights are such flexible things. Severin's pale gaze rests on the open books. The council is already uneasy. They hear that you hide injured warriors beneath the mountain and allow an untrained Omega to use unknown magic on your commander. Cassian goes still. How did you learn about the sanctuary? Severin smiles. You cannot keep a city beneath a fortress secret forever. You entered it without permission. I investigated a threat to the Dominion. That is what your father taught me to do. My father was a monster. For the first time, Severin's composure cracks. Your father built the power you inherited. He built it with fear, torture, and the blood of Omegas. And you would replace it with wounded soldiers, rebellious servants, and a girl whose magic none of us understands. Elara is not corrupting this court, Cassian says. She is showing me what it should have become long ago. Severin's face empties of expression. If you will not cut out the weakness yourself, others may decide to do it for you. He turns and leaves. Alara listens to his footsteps fade. He will come for me. Cassian's answer is immediate. He will have to go through me. The following 6 weeks change Alara more than the previous 20 years. She divides her days between the sanctuary, political lessons, and self-defense training with Bryn. Malin teaches her how to recognize the difference between natural illness and magical corruption. Cassian brings her old laws and asks what she would change. Vela shows her household records revealing how little food and rest the Fortress Omegas receive. Alara begins making small demands: proper meals, private sleeping rooms, the right to report abuse, medical treatment without a superior's permission. Cassian approves each change. The War Council resists every one. You see the problem now, he tells her after a meeting that ends with 2 commanders threatening resignation. A king may issue an order. Making people obey without destroying the realm is another matter. Then we keep going. His tired expression softens. Yes, we keep going. The connection between them grows in quiet moments, rather than declarations. Cassian teaches her to read border maps. Alara discovers he hates formal dinners and prefers bread stolen from the kitchen after midnight. When an old scar across his ribs aches during a storm, he refuses magical healing but allows her to warm the injury with her hands. He tells her about Leora, the Omega mother he never knew. She tells him that before Lucan, she once wanted to become an herbalist. Neither of them calls what is forming between them a bond. Not yet. The morning before the gathering, Bryn circles Alara in the training yard. The Silver Pine delegation arrives today, she says. They are traditional. They will expect you to remain silent. And if I do not? Alara asks, avoiding a practice strike. Bryn grins. Then we will discover whether Alpha Edric possesses a sense of humor. The other delegations present different dangers. Thornwood is aggressive, led by Alpha Garrick, who prefers fists to negotiation. Mist Hollow is secretive and surrounded by rumors of forbidden magic. Iron Ridge values trade above loyalty. Then there is Shadowmere, Alara's former home. That evening, she and Cassian stand on the balcony outside his chambers, watching stars emerge over the mountains. I thought you should know before they arrive, he says. Lucan and Maris married 3 weeks after you disappeared. Alara's blood turns cold. The official account says you died in a hunting accident. The pack never organized a serious search. They searched long enough to make the lie believable. You do not have to attend tomorrow. No. The answer leaves her more strongly than she expects. I am finished hiding. I want them to see that I survived. I want them to understand that what they did no longer defines me. Cassian studies her in the moonlight. Then stand beside me tomorrow. Not behind me, not below me. Beside you as what? He reaches out and brushes a strand of hair from her face. The touch is gentle, almost reverent, as whatever you choose to become. The space between them seems to narrow. Alara's heart pounds. She can feel the pull that has grown through every shared secret and every quiet conversation. Cassian, she whispers, I do not know whether I can be what you need. You already are. His voice is rough. You have been what this kingdom needed since the moment I found you. He leans closer. A guard bursts onto the balcony. My king! Fire in the East Tower. The Silver Pine delegation arrived early. Their alpha is trapped inside. They run. Flames pour from the tower windows. Warriors drag coughing delegates into the courtyard, while healers struggle to reach a man lying near the burning entrance. Alpha Edric Silverpine's skin is blistered and blackened. Every breath comes as a wet gasp. "He will not survive," Malin says. "His lungs are burned." All eyes turn toward Alara. Fear strikes her, not fear of failure, but of the darkness she may have to take into herself. She kneels anyway. Everyone step back. Her hands settle over Edric's chest. Silver light appears. The pain is immediate. Heat tears through Alara's lungs. Her skin feels as if it is burning from within. She forces herself to remain connected while the light rebuilds damaged tissue, cell by cell, and opens airways filled with smoke. Beneath the fire damage, she finds the same corruption that poisoned Corvin. Someone used dark magic to make the flames feed upon living flesh. Alara drags the corruption into herself and burns it away. When she finally pulls back, Edric's breathing has steadied. Alara collapses into Cassian's arms, coughing black smoke that evaporates before it touches the ground. "It was not an accident," she tells him. "The same corruption was inside the fire." "Someone in Thornhaven," Cassian says grimly. As he carries Alara toward her chamber, she sees a figure standing beneath a shadowed arch. Lord Severin watches them without expression. The gathering begins the following afternoon. Despite his injuries, Alpha Edric insists on attending. By the time the other delegations arrive, the story of Alara's healing has spread through every corridor. Alpha Garrick of Thornwood rises the moment he sees her standing near Cassian's chair. This is an outrage. An Omega does not stand among ruling alphas. "She speaks with my authority," Cassian replies. "Any insult offered to her is offered to me." Then Alara sees them. Maris stands near the back of the Shadowmere delegation, with one hand resting possessively on Lucan's arm. She wears expensive blue silk and the mating mark at her throat. Their eyes meet. Maris gives her the old, poison-sweet smile. "I won, little sister." Alara feels the wound of the waterfall open inside her. Then she remembers silver light beneath her hands. Finn's life continuing, Corvin breathing, Petra lifting her eyes for the first time. Alara turns away from Maris. She dismisses her completely. The flash of anger on her sister's face is almost worth the pain. The council session stretches for hours. Trade routes, disputed borders, missing patrols, and accusations fill the chamber. "We must coordinate our forces," Cassian argues. "Whoever created these weapons wants each pack isolated. Unity serves the Dominion more than it serves us," Garrick says. "You ask us to place soldiers under your command. I ask you to stop letting pride kill your people." The argument collapses into shouting. "Enough!" Alara does not raise her voice, yet something in it cuts through the noise. Every face turns toward her. "You speak of authority while your people die beyond these walls," she says. "You protect old grudges as if pride will stop poisoned steel. Whoever planned these attacks is counting on your fear of one another." Garrick's face darkens. "How dare you lecture us?" "I dare because I have already lost everything I thought made my life valuable." Alara's hands shake, but she refuses to hide them. 2 months ago, I was waiting to die in a cave because I believed an Omega, abandoned by a promised mate, had no worth. I was wrong. She looks around the chamber. And so are you. Leadership is not the right to be obeyed. It is the duty to protect. Stop behaving like frightened children and become the leaders your people need. Silence follows. Then Alpha Edric begins to clap. The moon-touched Omega has more courage than most rulers I have met, he says. Silverpine will join the alliance. Iron Ridge follows. Then Mist Hollow. Garrick rises last, looking as though he has swallowed broken glass. Thornwood will stand with you for the duration of this threat. Only Shadowmere remains seated. Maris laughs softly. How touching. My little sister has learned to play at politics. Mother would be proud. The words are chosen to reduce Alara to the unwanted child she once was. Cassian rises. Lady Maris, I do not believe we have been formally introduced. Maris's confidence falters. You are the woman who accepted a mating mark from the man who had courted your sister for 3 years. You then allowed your pack to report Alara dead without telling the truth of why she fled. That is not what happened, Maris says. I did not. I heard the account from Alara herself. Cassian's smile is sharp. I should despise you for your cruelty. Instead, I find myself grateful. Without it, I might never have found the most remarkable wolf I have ever known. He extends his hand. Alara takes it. Cassian raises their joined hands before the council. This woman saved Commander Corvin. She saved Alpha Edric. She has shown more courage and wisdom than many who inherited titles at birth. She stands with me, not beneath me, not behind me, but beside me as my equal. Whispers surge through the hall. Lucan finally steps forward. Alara, I never intended for you to die. She looks at the man whose approval once meant everything. What did you intend? She asks. That I remain in Shadowmere and thank you for humiliating me? I made a mistake. No, you made a choice. Her voice remains calm. Now live with it. Maris's face twists with rage. Before she can speak, every window in the great hall explodes inward. Glass rains across the council floor. Wolves in black armor leap through the broken frames, their eyes burning with unnatural red light. The Alliance gathering becomes a battlefield. Cassian throws himself between Alara and the attackers. Get her to safety, he roars. Alara turns toward an injured delegate. A hand clamps over her mouth, an arm locks around her waist. Scream, Severin whispers against her ear, and I will tear out your throat before my nephew reaches you. He drags her through a hidden door while the hall erupts behind them. The passage descends into darkness beneath Thornhaven. Severin forces Alara through twisting corridors until they enter a circular chamber lit by blue-white torches. Ancient runes cover the walls. Their presence makes her wolf whimper. A stone altar stands in the center, stained by centuries of old blood. This is where it began, Severin says, where my brother first learned the truth about power. What truth? That strength comes from sacrifice. His fingers trail across the altar. The moon goddess gives power according to her whims. Intelligent wolves learned long ago that blessings can be taken by force. Images from Corvin's poison flash through Alara's mind. The altar, black metal, pale eyes. "It was you," she breathes. "The border attacks, the poisoned weapons, the fire. Of course, you tried to destroy the Alliance before it could form. The Alliance threatens everything the Veilorn line built. If Cassian spreads his softness across the packs, wolves will forget what kept them alive. Fear did not keep them alive. It kept you powerful." Severin smiles. "You are clever. That is why you should have died at the waterfall." He moves closer. "My nephew survived his father because I taught him to hide weakness. Now he parades it before councils and calls it reform. When your death breaks him, the court will remember why mercy is dangerous." Alara's wolf surges forward. For months, shame had kept her animal half buried inside. Now rage tears away the last barrier. She shifts. The transformation rips through her bones. Pain explodes along her spine as dark brown fur replaces skin and claws strike stone. She lunges for Severin's throat. He shifts faster. His wolf is enormous, black as the space between stars. They collide in a storm of claws and teeth. Alara is smaller and less trained, but desperation lends her speed. Her teeth tear into his shoulder. Her claws open 3 red lines across his face. Severin slams her into the wall. Stone cracks behind her. Before she can rise, he pins her beneath massive paws and closes his jaws around her throat. Pathetic. His distorted voice growls inside her mind. An Omega challenging a warrior who has killed more wolves than you have ever seen. His teeth press against her pulse. One bite will end everything. No. The refusal rises from the same place as her healing light, but it is no longer gentle. It is a scream of defiance. Silver moonfire erupts from Alara's body. The blast throws Severin across the chamber. He crashes into the blood-stained altar, which splits down the center with a thunderous crack. Alara's shift reverses without conscious command. She rises in human form, silver light flowing beneath her skin. The broken altar releases clouds of black corruption. Alara can feel every strand of it. Not merely poison, centuries of stolen pain, rage, and sacrificed life. Her gift reaches for the darkness. So does the darkness. Black veins crawl up her hands. Severin struggles to stand. Impossible. No Omega could contain that power. "I am an Omega," Alara says, walking toward him. "I am also moon-touched. Neither truth makes me less." Her bare feet leave silver prints upon the stone. "I am finished being afraid of wolves like you." She reaches for Severin, intending to pour every spark of moonfire into the corruption inside him. "Alara, stop!" Cassian's voice echoes through the chamber. He stands at the entrance, covered in blood from the battle above. A deep cut crosses his side. His amber eyes are wide with fear. Not fear of her, but for her. "If you take all of his corruption into yourself, it will remain inside you," he says. "The moon-touched purify. They are not executioners. He deserves death." Her voice resonates with power. "He does." Cassian approaches slowly. "But his crimes are not yours to carry. Let every pack hear what he did. Let the council judge him in the light. He will hurt others, not again." Cassian stops before her and lifts one hand to her cheek. "Do not let him turn your gift into the weapon he always believed it should be." Do not let his darkness decide who you become. Silver light pulses around them. The black veins climb higher along Alara's arms. She looks into Cassian's face and remembers Finn, Corvin, Edric, Petra, and the hidden beds beneath the mountain. Healing is not weakness. Mercy is not surrender. Alara releases the power. Moonfire sweeps across the chamber, not into Severin, but into the broken altar and the runes surrounding it. Black corruption screams through the stone before dissolving into silver mist. The veins vanish from Alara's skin. Her knees collapse. Cassian catches her and gathers her against his chest. "I have you," he whispers into her hair. "It is over." Guards rush into the chamber and surround Severin's broken form. The battle above has ended. The conspirators have been captured. The evidence beneath Thornhaven will expose decades of forbidden sacrifices. Alara can focus only on Cassian's heartbeat beneath her cheek and the warmth of his arms around her. "Thank you," she whispers, "for believing in me before I knew how to believe in myself." Cassian draws back enough to see her face. "From the moment I found winter lilies blooming around you, I knew you carried something extraordinary." His expression softens. "But the magic was never the reason I stayed." "Then why did you?" "Because you were freezing, furious, and still more concerned with whether you deserved help than with the man who had betrayed you." A faint smile touches his mouth. "Because you stood between a child and a monster before you knew how to protect yourself. Because you made me brave enough to bring my work into the light." His forehead rests against hers. "I stayed because I love you, Alara." She once believed those words would always belong to another man and another life. Now they feel new. "I love you too." Cassian kisses her beneath the ruined altar chamber. The kiss is fierce, exhausted, and full of everything they have been too afraid to name. Alara clings to him and finally understands what it means to be chosen without being owned. Not as property, not as a reward, as an equal, a partner, a future mate. Severin's trial is held before representatives of all 5 packs. The hidden chamber, corrupted weapons, and testimony of his soldiers leave no room for denial. He is stripped of rank and sentenced under the laws he once used against the powerless. The Shadowmere delegation is also forced to answer for falsifying Alara's death. Lucan loses his position as future Beta. Maris returns home under public disgrace, but Alara feels no triumph when the judgment is announced. Their punishment cannot restore what they destroyed. It also no longer controls her future. The Alliance survives. Silverpine, Thornwood, Mist Hollow, Iron Ridge, Shadowmere, and the Northern Dominion establish coordinated patrols and shared healing stations. Trade roads reopen. Corrupted weapons are outlawed across every territory. Change inside Thornhaven comes more slowly. Some commanders resign rather than serve under new laws. Several noble houses refuse to send their Omega children to school. Threatening letters arrive almost weekly. Cassian and Alara continue anyway. 6 months later, spring reaches the northern mountains. Alara stands at the window of the chamber she now shares with Cassian, watching sunlight spill across Thornhaven. Below, workers raise the final walls of the Moonrise Healing Academy. Omegas from every territory will be allowed to study medicine, diplomacy, and self-defense there. The first students have already arrived, including Petra, who now walks with her head lifted. "You are awake early." Cassian's arms wrap around Alara from behind. She leans into his warmth as he kisses her hair. "I could not sleep. The ceremony?" She nods. "That night, beneath the full moon, they will formalize their mating before the Dominion and the 5 allied pacts. The ceremony is not a treaty, and Alara is not being offered as a political prize. It is a public symbol of the new era they are trying to build, one in which rank does not determine worth." "Nervous?" Cassian asks, terrified. She turns in his arms. 8 months ago, I was hiding behind a waterfall and waiting to die. Tonight, I become Alpha Queen of the Northern Dominion. What if I am not enough? What if I fail?" "You will fail sometimes," Cassian says. Alara stares at him. He smiles. "So will I. Then we will learn, repair what we can, and continue." His hands frame her face. "You are the strongest person I know, not because of your gift, but because of your heart. You survived betrayal and chose not to become cruel. You faced corruption and chose to heal. You taught me that power does not require fear." His amber eyes hold absolute certainty. "You are not merely enough, Alara. You are my equal." The words fill cracks she did not know remained inside her. She rises onto her toes and kisses him, softly this time. "I love you, Cassian Valorn, and I love you, Alara Voss, my moon-touched healer, my partner, my mate." The sun rises fully over the mountains, flooding the chamber with gold. Below them, Thornhaven awakens. Warriors train under new rules that value discipline over cruelty. Children run through gardens where forbidden winter lilies now grow in silver-white clusters. Servants cross corridors that no longer echo with fear. The world is not healed, not yet, but at the window, wrapped in each other's arms, the Alpha King and the Omega who refuse to remain broken. Watch the dawn of an era they will build together.